You're welcome back to Newsfile. This is your most authoritative news analysis show. And here on Newsfile, we bring you the very best. Now, Roland Yeboah says, my heart bleeds so heavily to know that in this century, lunatics like this could exist. How on earth can you murder innocent people like that? And then Musa Ali Kone said, what happened in Paris is terribly unfortunate. I'm really sad that very humble, hard-working lives have been lost within the blink of an eye. Then Ateliba Matthew says that the world leaders must come together to condemn the attack. Okay, they should take the bull by the horns because it is France today, maybe tomorrow it could be another country. Then Jibril Omar says, please don't forget Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Palestine. Also, Akanwili says, France have their fair share in assisting terrorism. If France can remove legitimate presidents and install their lapdogs, why can't they detect the attack? Those terrorists that France help and recruit, especially in Asia and Africa, will test their preparedness on France before they any assigned activities. Unfortunate, very unfortunate. Inusa Abdul Rahman says, yesterday 100 innocent persons dead in Lebanon attack, 500 innocent dead in Palestine, 200 dead in Yemen. Last year, 400,000 dead in Syria. 5 years ago, 1.5 million dead in Iraq, yet no one says a word. Okay, so we need to watch out. And then Williams in Ketia says that in Kekia, not in Ketia, says that these people, ISIS, are simply not worth living. What kind of human beings are they? They are too callous. Mohammed Hassir says Kweku Baako and his trainee are operating an illegal company. We are getting there right now. Citizen Vigilante has caught them. Expose galore. And then
this is provocative.
Andrew Ayine Awinoria says that okay, he says what has happened in Paris appears to have affected my mood this morning. It's an act of cowardice and a call on all nations to raise their security alertness to another level. Ofori Jonathan says, this is sad and shocking news. It is my fervent hope that the world will come together to fight against these senseless terrorists. Fight ISIS. Hashtag. Musa Abator in Kumasi says that the antidote to the confusion in the NPP is simple. They should reconstitute early National Congress to change their flag bearer because he cannot manage the infighting. The National Council affirmed the illegal suspension of Afoko clearly shows that NPP has no respect for their own constitution. For that matter, they cannot respect the Supreme Constitution of Ghana. Gilbert Richmond Roxon says the NPP National Council didn't look at the merit of Afoko's case. They had made up their minds to kick him out already. The point is, even if he was reinstated, who was he going to work with? Same people against him. I suggest he goes to court. When he gets a favorable outcome, he resigns just to set a good precedent. Efo Doji Sebastian says Kweku Baako's speeches only reaffirm what Dr. Atta Kennedy said. Quote, it seems the takeover of the NPP by CPP elements is now complete. With Mr. Blay as chair and Abdul Malik Kweku Baako leading the public relations case for the coup. It is sad how far we have fallen from our lofty height. Henry Bedu says that the defense put forward by Sami Crab and co. for Mr. Afoko and he himself is too watery and no cup can hold such substance. Solomon Nyantechi says that Kweku Baako, easy before you get heart attack on MPP matters. Wonder why Samson don't allow himself alone to talk when it comes to MPP matters because he hardly allow anyone to do so. I hope I really understood what you meant. Now, the war initially was supposed to be one that appeared to have been a gun that was aimed at the government, and particularly the president, John Mahama, as one who was colluding, or Anas was colluding with, to shield MPs who have been allegedly videoed in a corruption, scam. Then subsequently, it appeared to become a fight between two anti-corruption-preneurs, or what do you call them? Corruption-preneurs. Those who are in the anti-corruption fight. Martin ABK Amidu, a former Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana, a former Interior Minister, is it? And he says he knows all about it, and that Anas is operating a dummy, illegal entity called Tiger IPI, and he will expose him for who he is, taking money or being sponsored by the government to unconstitutionally and unlawfully invade people's privacy. Anas has replied him, but Anas's boss is here, so can't have a better discussion. Kweku?
Yeah, my brother.
It's been an interesting week. I'm hoping that certainly you have your documents together and you're going to tell us a lot more. In fact, Martin Amidu is listening, and as and when it's appropriate, he may come in and say one thing or the other. But first of all, I think we ought to start this way. Let's hear Martin Amidu on some of the things that he had to say.
After an investigative meeting, my team and I decided to approach the situation from 3 different phases.
Anas has been commissioned with an agenda to prove that the judiciary is corrupt, because the judiciary has insistently asked the government to prove that they are corrupt.
But how does that vitiate from the public knowing that the executive is corrupt?
You don't commission somebody who is not licensed, who is not acting in accordance with law, and allow him to breach the laws, the criminal laws and other laws, simply because you think that you want to expose one branch which has not been favorable to your government. They have no business commissioning an undercover agent with the sole purpose of covering up their own corruption, because they raise emotion on judicial corruption for political corruption to be forgotten.
Because you are questioning the integrity of the person who produced the evidence.
Look.
So then, how can the Chief Justice be right, and yet Anas be an undercover agent illegally?
Look, volunteer cannot be injured. The Chief Justice did not ask Anas to go out and do undercover investigation to arrest judges. He decided on his own to go and do that. He brings resources. The Chief Justice cannot throw them away. The source of the evidence is immaterial as long as it is available. But that does not mean that if the private person or the government agent who produces the evidence can be dealt with legally, the law will not deal with it.
The man says, I have not been commissioned to do any work on Parliament. I have not shown any work to anybody, which is in the line of what you are saying.
I am telling you that as a minister of the Republic, I was informed that the government was going to do that work. I don't want to give you the details of it, but I have the information and I've been told. And I left office in 2012, right? And I'm telling you that what Kwesi Pratt and this guy have said are true. In fact, there is even a publication where he was asked in 2011, and he confessed and asked himself that there was something in Parliament being done, right? And I'm telling you that is carryover from my time. And I'm telling you that that thing was sold secretly to Parliament. In fact, his own admission that indeed he showed 20 minutes of something to them.
Of a judicial video?
No. Did you expect him to say it was a parliamentary video?
Well, why?
Did you expect him to say that as a covert agent?
Unless you want me to say that he's lying, I'm just quoting what he said.
No, I'm saying that what is his authority for that investigation? Let's go back.
But he has done.
No. What is his authority?
For which one?
For the investigations he's doing.
He does investigations all the time. There's some.
Under what authority?
as a journalist, he can investigate.
Under what authority? He is investigating under an organization, and that organization cannot do it without a license.
To do an investigative job as a journalist,
he is not doing it as a journalist. Here is Tiger Eye, which is not registered. Objects are different from Tiger IPI Media Limited, right? And he's doing it on the Tiger IPI, the unregistered one. He has no license. Even the Tiger PI Media Limited, he has no license. He should produce the license.
All right.
Right? You can't do covert operations in breach of law. And once you do that, covert operation in breach of law, and the government is silent, it reinforces the fact that you are a covert agent for the government doing their work. The only reason why he has survived with this public fraud on his website is because, as an undercover investigator, the government has overlooked the law. You know what I mean? And has overlooked all his breaches just to permit him to do their bidding for them.
Let's take your argument.
Let's
assume that, without admitting, that government did commission Anas. Why does that obfuscate the seriousness of the judicial corruption we saw? Do you think that the public is incapable of distinguishing between judicial corruption and political corruption?
It doesn't. But he's being used to suppress the Gargantuan political corruption, which is worse than.
How does exposing judicial corruption suppress political corruption?
Don't you see that everybody has forgotten about the president is starting about he's going to deal with people when there are cases, serious cases? I've given you a case.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, Martin Luther King. So if judicial corruption exists and you admit it in your first
yes, and that is why I am happy that they will be dealt with.
So, but I'm saying that
what nauseates me is the fact that he lends himself as a covert undercover agent to a government, which is inconsistent with the constitution and the laws of Ghana.
The corruption he exposes notwithstanding.
Notwithstanding, because you see, you cannot use crime to uncover crime. It is unconstitutional, it's not allowable, and particularly to do it in contravention of law, LI 1517, to do it in contravention of the company's code. Right? And for the government to cover it up. And it is the sum total of this which makes me to say he indeed was commissioned by the government. Because if he wasn't commissioned by the government won't allow him to breach all these laws, do all these illegal surveillances, and then give him a protection. I have done anti-corruption work. Right? Am I protected? Are we not sitting here alone?
Are you saying there's only one approach to doing anti-corruption work?
There is.
He's a journalist. You are a lawyer.
Listen, he is not a journalist. Tiger IPI is not a journalist. It is a dummy company with objects which are not registered, as I've read to you, not recognized by the company's code, not recognized by 1517, LI 1517, right? The government itself under LI 1517 is prohibited from using such a person to do investigations.
So
then it does it. Okay. All it means is that it's using him covertly to do the dirty work for it.
You've made that point.
And I'm saying that having done that and allow him to do the judicial corruption, right, which I said was initiated, and those who were affected by that judicial corruption in 2010, 2011 became close confidants of the president in the presidency. And he even went to the extent of getting a biometric service
these
passport.
are possible deductions that you have said.
Clearly deductfully, he was an agent of government. If on this occasion he is contending that he is not, the onus is on him to say that on this occasion we did it. And I'm saying he's been doing it for pay. It's not for free.
What is the end game for you?
The end game is that the government should stop using private individuals to create an Orwellian state in Ghana. And I'm saying,
even if it is to expose corruption,
Orwellian state is forbidden by the constitution, and you cannot use it to expose corruption.
So
the president will be acting unconstitutionally.
So when President Mills commissioned him to do a job, which job you say we are all aware of, was that also unconstitutional?
It was clearly. I told you that if Prof had told me.
Didn't any of this take place whilst you were Attorney General?
What I'm saying is, I've told you that I was never consulted. I never would have granted him immunity. And I fought against such unconstitutional illegal acts. That's why I left office. You see, all those jobs he was used in doing.
You are not
without having a license under 1517.
Although
were illegal.
But you are saying you plead ignorance.
I don't plead ignorance.
As you
I don't know.
You're part of government. I'm just saying.
Because they knew I won't agree for the law to be
you know
broken.
that you are part of the government, so you have to accept
and
the
I'm
responsibility.
telling you that
yes.
I knew that they wanted to do these things, but nobody told me. I thought they would use the police.
I love this guy, Bernard Kweku Avle of the City Breakfast Show, my very good brother and friend, with Martin Amidu in that interview. And I just love it. But Kweku, as the interaction that has to be done with Martin Amidu, as far as I'm concerned, Bernard finished that job. But the responses from Tiger Eye, that's what the public is interested now. It does appear that Martin does raise some fair and germane concerns, correct? He says, number one, Tiger Eye was a paid agent of the state to do this job plus another on Parliament, and decided in collusion with the president or the government to disclose only that of the judiciary to damnify the judiciary. He says Tiger Eye is a dummy and a fraudulent entity. In fact, he calls Anas a fraud.
Yeah. As my very good friend and indeed comrade, Martin Amidu, provided anything of evidential value to back these assertions you just made. The last time I checked, none. But we've all been invited to pursue the case that he's put out there. So it's welcome. You give me time, I'll proceed step by step.
He has indicated that at 3 or 4 different levels, he held an office in government and he was part of decisions and meetings. That, so he should know.
Yes, but if you even listen to the interview, there are areas where he says they didn't tell me, I didn't know. This so confusing. You are not sure where the focus should be. But just permit me to proceed step by step. It's very, very important. He builds a certain framework, context, that one, he was in government between 2009 and 2012.
That's so.
And that there were discussions within government relative to some verdicts that were pronounced by the courts, which went against government, on basis of which government decided to do some job on the judiciary. These were judicial pronouncements that government didn't like. That I remember the ruling party made some statements.
There's so many ways to kill a cat.
Yes, he refers to even the NCCE forum,
right,
where Amaliba and Raymond Atuguba them were brought in, and the things that were said. All this constituted the foundation for government to say that, look here, these judgments that were delivered were procured either politically or financially, or both. Corruption. So let's do something about it. I thought the government then, and I have the publications here, gave the impression that these judgments were defective in law and that the appropriate cure was that they were going to appeal. If I recall, and I brought the statements here, I wondered how government was going to suggest that these judgments were procured through corruption, so we should undertake a certain project in order to uncover it. Let's assume without admitting that he's right. Which were those judgments? He gives the specifics himself. Ghana at 50.
Right.
Who pronounced judgment in that case? Justice Mafu Sao.
That is so.
Am I right?
That is so.
Where is he today? Then he was a Court of Appeal judge.
That is so.
Sitting as an additional High Court judge. In the perception of government, they thought that judgment was procured through corrupt means. Government decides to commission an agent to undertake covert ops. Government does not give that name and that verdict to the covert agent that this is one of our targets. We want you to follow his track. and give us information.
He suggests that some of the judges, they were not also put out, so he could be one of those.
Please, no. Proceed. You will see the unsustainability of the framework that he's built, which is the next one. Yana case.
Correct.
Justice Ayibi sat on that case. He's also at the Court of Appeal. His verdict is perceived by government then as having been procured through corrupt means. So government is incentivized to undertake a project through a covert agent. That's key. Justice Ayibi and his verdict is not part of what the covert agent must examine in order to vindicate government. Now, before Justice Ayibi, you recall there was Justice Antonio Pong who was handling that case. And because of some allegations made by Bachinodro, Justice Opon recused himself. Those allegations bordered on misconduct, judicial misconduct, for that matter, possibly corruption. And Justice Opon recused himself, if you recall.
That is so.
Now, Justice Opon is part of those 12 or so judges that Tiger Eye sent a letter of commendation on to the Chief Justice. I don't know if you remember that list. Now, Justice Opon, if indeed he was somebody perceived by the system, the government, the executive, then as corrupt, and in this case, even the Deputy Attorney General then publicly accused the man of bias and judicial misconduct, is captured on tape, or is through investigations by the covert agent of government, covert agent commissioned by government. And the government allows this covert agent, because the work, according to him, that work is the government's work, it's government's property. For this Justice Opon to be commended, why would government not say delete that? Don't cite him, because he's one of those we thought was corrupt and was misbehaving, and we got him to recuse himself because of pressure that we put on him. So you see, the ingredients he puts together, suggesting that because he was in office, these were the issues that triggered the government decision to investigate the judicial corruption. I'm saying that it wouldn't make sense for a government that had been triggered by those particular events and verdicts not to tell the commissioned covert agent to follow that trail. In addition, if you like, to others, in order to expand the frontiers. So it doesn't hold. But significantly, he proceeds beyond that to say there's a nexus between when he was in government and those discussions took place and the judicial corruption thing, because somewhere in 12 rather, Anas Arimeyo Anas referred to something that he described as the last wish of President Mills. And indeed, my own friend provides what he claims to be his smoking gun in his second epistle. And I may quote from page 5. Please listen. After he had made all those points, he makes the point that an exclusive interview reported by peacefmonline.com on 1st August 2012 pushed the matter of government agent at rest as follows. Quote, in an exclusive interview, Anas confirmed that Professor Mills personally assigned him to unearth corrupt deals at the ECG. It was something he, Mills, really wanted and asked me to do, he disclosed. The report continued. The highly rated undercover journalist has hinted of another big expose of his ongoing investigations soon to hit the country, which he noted was the last wish of the president. Emphasis supplied. He says, listen, this shows the nexus between this 2012 hint by the fraudulent Tiger IPI and the alleged undercover judicial investigation began in 2013 in fulfillment of the last wish of the president and consummated by his vice president and successor as president. My brother, again, he was chasing a mirage. He had forgotten that in 2014, Tiger Eye and Anas put out an investigative project in the form of audio-visual documentary titled Soul Takers. I have given your producers and things the video. If you read, you go through the video, the introductory stages, those Anas acknowledges. President Kufuor's foundation is there, Mr. Rollins is there, some doctors at Kolebu and the rest.
That's not in doubt.
And
I always receive a copy of the project he does.
And then
seen it.
the last wish of President Mills is brought there. When Mills, President Mills then, after he had received a nice project on customs, went to the Tama port and was talking to the customs people, he actually alluded to the fact that there's similar corruption going on at DVLA and that one day government will take a look at them. It's after that event that Professor Mills asked Anas to do a project on DVLA. And that is why Anas honored him and made that point by fitting into that video the last wish of President Mills. It was Soul Takers. It had absolutely nothing to do with the judicial corruption project. But you see, somebody does a conjecture. He speculates, he imagines, and he forces it in there by force. Now, beyond that, let's look at the other claim about parliamentary corruption project, which he said was done simultaneously with the judicial one. Again, allegedly commissioned by government. And his evidence, interestingly, is Kwesi Pratt and my good self, that I had said somewhere that there was such a project and that what they had gathered was enough even to vindicate the fact that there's corruption in the legislature. I had said something to that effect.
Yes, you did.
Indeed, it was an act of gross indiscretion on my part to have said so. Tiger Eye never does that. They wait, they finish, they compile, they put out. I made a mistake in that sense. But Kwesi Pratt, according to him, says as for him, everything there is finished and is ready for use. Now, question. Government has not, and I repeat, government has...
Okay, so for those of you who are watching the television, you can see that what you're seeing now is the Soul Takers. And you see the clear acknowledgement of certain persons, including the President Mills. And you see what Kweku refers to as that being the last wish of the president and not what Martin Amidu claims or alleges is supposed to be the judicial corruption investigation.
What Kwesi Pratt and I have said is not sufficient evidence of government commissioning of any project on parliament. Two, the factor of enough is relative. This judicial corruption thing, Anas could have stopped in the first year. They had enough. About 15 judges. He could have stopped and decided to throw it out there. So if I said enough, it does not mean it was ready. I never said there's a project completed, ready for delivery to the public. That cannot be his evidence to strengthen his case. But he proceeds further to say that parliamentary leadership have watched that particular video and have together conspired with the executive to hide it because of its impact on executive corruption. To the extent that he's even saying that the parliament had been briefed behind closed session. And you know what closed session means. You can't come out and disclose what was discussed. But it's the whole house in closed session.
He says some of the MPs have come to him.
But you see, it's somebody I like. In fact, I respect. And I am not tempted to throw the baby away with the bathwater. That gentleman, that friend of mine, has done a good job for this country. Okay? His anti-corruption crusade, all those things have borne fruits for this country. So I'm very careful in analyzing him. I don't want to create the impression that he's just anybody talking. And I will never do that. But please, I am saying that the parliamentary leadership, Bagwin, Dan Bochwe, Dominic Nitu, Doa Jaho, who is the speaker, and there's a fifth person, went to Akosombo International Hotel, and Anas showed them 20 minutes of the judicial corruption saga project. It was filmed by Al Jazeera. They filmed it. Everything said there is on tape. Everything, even a pin dropping, is captured.
He's saying they indeed and in fact watched that of the parliamentary corruption.
You can't watch something that is non-existent. In the sense that Tiger has released nothing. They haven't even spoken about it.
Mr. Amidu says if he had not spoken about the fact that some MPs have seen even the judicial corruption video in secret, Anas would not have come to disclose that.
Did he hear Nana Akufo-Addo has seen it? Did he hear Mr. Akufo has seen it? Did he hear that some chiefs, members of National House of Chiefs had seen it? And that is his format. All these years, when he finishes a project, we select some personalities in society and give them the opportunity to watch. But that is not announced. After that, where he gives them maybe VIP invitations to attend when it's luncheon.
I watched this particular one alone with Anas.
Thank you.
But if he's showing it to a group like the MPs,
no, the parliament, we did the selection. I said, look, let these people see it. Okay, I took him to Nana Akufo-Addo's house. And I've said this long ago, but he didn't hear that. Okay, Mr. Akufo was the only one we couldn't arrange well, so a copy was made when he was traveling to take along in order to watch in his private comfort. Okay, so what's the big deal there? The members of parliament one, I am saying, was the judicial corruption thing.
okay.
I think parliament, in my candid opinion,
yes,
integrity is on the line. If indeed parliamentary leadership watch these things, the parliamentary corruption one that he claims exists, and beyond that, actually briefed the whole house behind closed session that there is such a project and that the decision is that you are hiding it. Look, do you think it makes sense? That
Dominic Nituwu, who is part of the leadership, has come to say it is untrue. But Martin Amidu asked the question, do we expect them to come and say it is true?
But then you, the one saying it's true, where's your evidence? I think that's where it's more primary. The focus should be there. Okay? The focus should be there.
Okay, hold on briefly. Take a look at this.
Want to use this occasion to send a signal to your colleagues at DVLA. One of these days will descend on them.
Okay, that was just the soul takers that he referred to earlier, and he says that the soul takers. You say it was after this?
It was after this event that President Mills asked Anas
to do the DVLA one.
That's right.
Okay,
and that's why in doing that, after he had finished, after a year.
So the DVLA one is what you say is his last wish.
That is what Anas meant when
and
he
it is not the judicial corruption that Mr. Martin Amidu is referring to.
President Mills was long gone.
Okay, so you take it easy. I would go to the phone lines. We are privileged to be joined by Martin Amidu himself. I'll speak to him briefly. We'll talk to the rest of my panelists, and then I'll come to you, do a bit of a one-on-one, quick, yes-no issues with you on some of the critical questions that he raised that border on unconstitutionality, that border on criminality. Mr. Martin Amidu, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsfile.
Good morning.
Great. You have heard Abdul Malik Kweku Baako.
My very good friend.
Yes. And you have also read Anas's responses to you, 2 separate responses.
Yes.
What do you say to them?
No, I intend to respond to Malik Kweku Baako.
Okay.
Anas's responses, City has carried already. And you've just played it. But it's important that I respond to the issues my comrade, Mr. Kweku Baako, has just raised.
Please do.
Because Kweku Baako and I go very far away. And so in answering it, I will avoid doing anything that will let him look bad. I will try to focus on the issues. He's mentioned about Justice Mafusel. Justice Mafusel sat on the case as a Court of Appeal judge, coming to sit as an additional High Court judge. He doesn't sit alone. So even if Anas had wanted to catch him in his video, he would have found it very difficult. Because he doesn't judge cases alone. You know, in any case, let me ask him, is he aware that the Judicial Council recommended Justice Mafusio as the first candidate to be promoted to the Supreme Court, and that he was refused that promotion, and yet those who were not on the list of prime recommendation were appointed? Doesn't he realize that it's because of Justice Mafusio's judgment that he suffered? Number two, Yana case. Mr. Yebi was also a Court of Appeal judge who came and sat as an additional High Court judge. He doesn't normally sit in the High Court, so that you can go to him individually to bribe him on a case. And in the High Court of Appeal, you have to bribe 3 judges. It's more dangerous for a covert agent. And you see, and once the government's target is to prove the judiciary as corrupt, they won't do the dangerous. They will do the line of least resistance. That's why they didn't approach the Court of Appeal judges, who it would have been more difficult for Anas to double with. In any case, those Court of Appeal judges are so shrewd that they would have been on their toe because of the accusations leveled about them by the government and the threats to remove the Chief Justice and all that, such that Anas could never have even gone to them if they were sitting in the High Court. That would have been very alert. If I were the one, I would not allow anyone to come and talk to me about. So that explains the reason why they couldn't go there. And he himself should admit that these are facts. He spoke about Justice Apong. I didn't get the point he was trying to make properly. You know, okay. But I don't know whether Justice Apong was caught on the video.
Justice Apong was one of those who were celebrated as incorruptible.
Yes, that's why I've told them to produce that video, because I said that he's lying. If he's capturing everybody on surveillance video, he cannot tell us something without showing us the surveillance. I'm saying he's lying.
They say that if you want that video, it will be made available for you to watch.
Not for me. You should make it available to the public, like he did at the International Center.
There is a footage of 500 hours, sir.
I'm saying he can take that part and make it available for those 7 or 12 judges supposed to be incorruptible, so that we will know that he's speaking the truth.
Okay, but how do you answer those who say you know the law so well that you are making an allegation and you say the accuser should prove?
No, I am not. I said that
the accused should prove.
In law, the one who makes the allegation produces evidence to a certain threshold. Having done that, he discharges his burden. And I'm saying that I have produced evidence to show that Anas has been a consistent government covert operator, you know, which he has admitted. So if he thinks on this occasion he was not a covert agent, it is the burden is on him to prove it.
He says that
brother Kweku Baako should know.
He says that you have not supplied a shred, a scintilla of evidence of material, any material of evidential value, and that all you have done is to connect anecdotes. And
in my footnotes, the evidence are there. You see, you need to be meticulous to connect my sayings with the footnotes. For instance, he's talking about Professor Mills having asked him to do only the DVLA. If you read the Harbour incident and the pronouncements of Professor Mills, there are reports where Professor Mills was threatening the judiciary for freeing some of the people who were arrested, I think, in the Western region. It is there. It's just that I don't have it here because I didn't think my brother Kweku Baako will raise these issues. But it is there to show that Professor Mills himself was not happy about the conduct of the judiciary. You know, to support my saying that he was determined to prove them as being corrupt. You see? So if the examples he's giving are not anything to write home, in any case, he is the person who says he is not Anas's mouthpiece. He can't speak for Anas. At the same time, he's speaking for Anas. So with the viewers' respect, he should read his own article published on Ghana Web on 9th September 2015.
There's something that the public is interested in from you as the citizen vigilante. And it is this, that you allege that he and us, together with the president or government, decided, and parliament decided not to show a video that has been done complete on parliament. They say you got it wrong, and that what the parliamentarians watched actually was this particular video that all of us have seen.
My brother, you have just played the City FM news. I have answered it there, and I still depend on that one. And in any case, Kweku Baako, in a publication on Ghana News Wednesday, 9 September 2012, says this: Parliament is our next stop. Anas reveals. Meanwhile, it's not Anas talking, but his mentor. Parliament of Ghana, that's the picture. As investigative journalist Anas Anas has revealed that after his upcoming corruption expose on the judiciary, his next destination will be the legislature, which houses 275 members. According to Anas, not Kweku Baako, his office has overwhelming evidence that they have gathered over the years about the country's parliament that needs to be told. Have gathered over the years about the country's parliament that needs to be told.
The MPs you say, the MPs you say have watched.
No. I'm saying that this is a report which Kweku Baako,
I understand,
as a spokesman, has stated.
I understand. The MPs you say have watched this are denying that you are peddling untruth.
My brother, if you act unconstitutionally by allowing the executive, which you are supposed to check, to come and let you watch a video and then you compromise it, will you ever come to public and say that we watched it? In any case, don't you see that the conduct of the parliament in almost approving everything your mama brings there supports the fact that he's blackmailing them to continue? Go and read Cameron Dodo's article on Peace FM today. He's more senior to Kweku Baako, and he's seeing what I'm saying. Has Amidu shot himself in the foot? It's an article published today.
Many are asking, what exactly do you seek to achieve?
What I seek to achieve is that a young man like Anas should not lend himself to government to deflect attention to more serious corruption issues by just helping the government to dampen political corruption using some other things as propaganda. And I'm saying the profit motive, he should forget it and be honest. And I say what he is doing is unconstitutional. It's against the Securities and Intelligence Services Act, sections 29, 30, and 31. It's against LI 1517. You know, he is not registered under the company's code. So I'm saying it's illegal. And my brother Kweku knows we have been talking behind the scenes. You see, I don't like the way he comes out front to present me as if he and I haven't spoken about these things.
Your claim of his entity not being registered.
So it's like he ties my hand behind my back.
I see.
It's promoting me on radio.
Your claim of the entity not being registered or not being found in the registrar of companies is denied to the extent that there is only an omission of the full name, and you are being told, for example, that in this country there are hundreds of companies who don't disclose the very last limited. They don't add it to their full name as they register. They gave you an example of, say, Coca-Cola. We all know Coca-Cola, but we know that that's not what they are registered on the registrar of companies.
Please. That is a red herring. You see, they never said that they even have a Tiger IPI Limited until I said they don't exist. And I'm saying that the company that exists is Tiger IPI Media Limited, which is different from Tiger IPI Limited. My search results shows that there's nothing like Tiger IPI Limited. I have told you, and Metro TV showed the objects of TigerIPI.org on its website, which shows that the things they are doing as their object is inconsistent with Tiger IPI Media Limited.
Okay.
And I'm saying, and my brother Kweku Baako knows that I've just sent him an email in which I am making certain proposals. So he shouldn't be lambasting me when he
so you are saying that
ground channels.
You are saying that to the effect that you cannot find the full name, Tiger Eye PI Media Limited.
No, not the full name. The objects of Tiger Eye Limited are not the same as the objects of Tiger Eye Media Limited.
Granted, granted that is the case. The investigations done are of no use. They cannot be used. Is that what you're saying?
Please, I am saying that as far as the misconduct of the judges are concerned, they can be used because, you see, this is breach of administrative disciplinary code. So they can be used. And I'm saying, however the evidence is obtained, doesn't matter. Once it is available, it can be used. And I support the Chief Justice to the Hill to do it. You see, but if it comes to prosecution, he's going to find it difficult. Let's wait and see how the Attorney General is going to do it.
Interestingly, we understand you are going to court. For what?
No, I said that if he persists, I may decide to go to court. Look, Anas is a young man, and his mentor and I have been talking at the back channel. I wouldn't want to kill a fly with a sledgehammer. That's why I'm telling him, if you persist, I will have to go to court.
You will go to court to say what?
Oh, when I get there, you will hear it.
Okay. But what do you say?
I respect him very much. And I don't think it's good when we have back channel communication for him to come up front and be trying to create the impression that I'm lying.
Just hold on. Just hold on. He has a question for you.
Martin.
Yes.
It's not a question. It's a reaction. He can then react to that too. I have always, since this saga began, indicated that me and Martin have been in touch and have been talking. I have never disclosed any of our discussions in terms of the content because I don't have his permission to do so. So please let him put on record that we've had discussions, but I have not gone public and disclosed anything we have discussed. Anas knows everything I've been discussing with Martin on. That's one. Two, he makes the point about the three, because Court of Appeal, they sit as three.
Right.
So they would not have been a legitimate easy target. How? What is he talking about? Who told him that if you want to investigate those people, you go to the court when they are seated? Who told him that's the venue? No, hold on, Martin. Martin, please
just hold on briefly for him. Yeah.
Who told him that you have to go to their court, the court when it's in session, with the three of them available before you target them? No. If you have them on your radar, there are different places. After all, some of the people go and collect their thing in the Accra Mall? Didn't they? So there are very many places.
But it is a fact that is not an easy target because it's not a sole jurist.
But it's not an important...
Where there are three, you need two of them to make a decision in your favor.
No, you are looking at the man being susceptible to corruption. Listen, you are not talking of whether you are going to reverse a verdict here or there. You start. There must be a beginning. So you can't go with all the three at the same place. You can go with one. If Mafusafu had been perceived, Mafusau had been perceived as corrupt, as having delivered a correct judgment, he's a legitimate target for the government commissioned agent. So wherever he is, whether he sits with 2 or 3 people, it's immaterial. He's a target.
Doesn't matter to you that he reveals to you now that Justice Mafusau was a candidate for the Supreme Court and has been sidestepped, even though he came highly recommended. And those who are not highly recommended have rather been the ones pushed through for the Supreme Court.
It's irrelevant relative to the issue at stake here. Completely irrelevant. I don't get the relevance. He's talking of a government having commissioned a covert agent to do an exercise based on certain based on certain things that are happening in the past. He drew that framework. And I'm saying that framework, the verdicts that were passed by these judges. You think government decided, in spite of the fact that these people passed verdicts that were procured through corruption, they shouldn't be legitimate targets for my covert agent?
Okay,
which government would do anything like that? Last point. Last point. The point he makes about a publication that Anas has never spoken. So if the publication attributed anything directly to Anas was a piece of misreporting.
Okay.
I have spoken and I've said so here, even before he came on.
Okay, let's hear Mr. Amidu now.
Let me tell my comrade Kweku Baako that what he has just said is just an afterthought because I've caught him right in the neck with his Anas. He says he's speaking for Anas. Now he's caught, he's retiring from it.
No,
I mean, I have not to believe what
him.
he's saying. Let me go to Mafusau and IEB. I am saying that any good judge who has delivered a judgment which has become so controversial and the government has charged you with corruption and has threatened the whole judiciary will be on his guard and will not be easily susceptible to anybody to go and corrupt. You know, that is why they will even go there, because if they had gone, Mafusau would not have threatened to report him to the police. He would have ordered his bodyguard to arrest him. Same with IEB.
I don't know the exact. I don't know the exact timelines, but by the example you gave, what do you say to Justice Ajet Nassam?
Ajet Nassam,
because he became a target. Government was not happy about what was going on, what he had done.
Government was not happy about what?
About the judgment he had given on Woyomi.
No. Government was very happy. They never wanted Woyomi convicted. That's why I went to the Supreme Court.
So why did government go on an appeal?
Window dressing. It is now that this matter has come and Anas has been elected, you will see. Because you see, the very fact that he is corrupt, the Court of Appeal will have to take that into consideration as to the validity of the judgment. I said that if they argue the appeal well, they will succeed. And I indicated the lines they should use in my article. You know, I told you in my write-up, it's because I didn't trust Ajet and this other guy, Obimpe. That's why I went with the cases to the Supreme Court. I myself suspected them to be corrupt.
I see.
And that is why I said, whatever the faults of the illegality, at least the Chief Justice has evidence with which she can deal with them administratively.
There are those who are asking, do you have any personal sort of problems with the current president? Because the initial article sought to pit him against the public.
I don't have anything against him, except that I have told him that, look, as a young Londoner to ascend to this position, discharge your duties with utmost integrity to uphold the image of we Northerners. We've been known from time immemorial to be honest people. The government you are running corruptly is damaging us. I've written about it. And I've said that because of his behavior, for the next 20, 30 years, this country will not vote a Northern president. I haven't hidden that. He is disgracing me as a Northerner. I don't like it.
Okay. Very finally to you, there are those who have concerns about what they say is your breach of your oath of secrecy whilst you were in government, because you seem to be talking about matters that you became aware of in cabinet and so on, and you took an oath of secrecy. What do you say to them?
You see, Article 3 of the Constitution says that, in fact, Article 1 makes the Constitution the supreme law of the land. Article 3 gives every citizen the right to defend the Constitution. So, if the government in which I was is acting unconstitutionally, my loyalty is transferred from the cabinet to the Constitution. That is why I have dared them to prosecute me for breach of any official oath. You see, it's because of this docility of sitting there and the government will be committing crime and acting unconstitutionally that this country is not moving forward. I take an oath of secrecy to protect the Constitution of Ghana, not the president of Ghana. So if the president is committing crime and acting unconstitutionally, Article 3 supersedes whatever oath I took as a member of government. I have to defend the Constitution. That is why I am doing it. And I have challenged, I have written, anybody who thinks I have broken my oath of secrecy, I am doing it on Article 3, go to court, and then I will come and answer.
But the oath doesn't say you are to protect the Constitution, so to speak. The oath says that you swear solemnly or affirm that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person any matter which shall be brought under my consideration or shall come to my knowledge in the discharge of my official duties, except as may be required for the discharge of my official duties.
My brother, the letter and the spirit of the Constitution means that the Constitution is supreme to the official oath.
Okay.
And the official oath is only valid in as long as actions done under it are consistent with the Constitution. Once the president and the government breach the Constitution and are committing crime, my loyalty is to the Constitution of government, not to the Constitution of Ghana, not to any government.
All right. Some of the lawyers for some of the judges implicated are saying that what you have done now helps their case, and they are going to mount that challenge to seek to nullify everything that Anas has done.
Let me be honest with you. I am shocked by that pronouncement. I am shocked because any lawyer who another client engages is supposed to be meticulous and do his own research. And I assume that they even knew these facts I was bringing out. So I'm shocked that they themselves are now confessing that they were handling their cases so badly that it is because I am defending the Constitution, I'm providing them ammunition. That has not been my intention. My principle is respect the Constitution. Don't do unconstitutional conduct. If you are operating as an investigator, produce your license and the permit to employ people. Produce your objects as you have registered in the company's register. That's all I was fighting. Produce evidence to show that you acted with a warrant from a high court judge to mount surveillance on people as required by sections 29, 30, and 31 of the Securities and Intelligence Agencies Act. Period. That's all I'm saying.
So do you think that they have any chances of success by wanting to use what you have said to challenge the recordings?
In law, the counsel and the way he put the argument is more important. I don't know how if they didn't do their research before, I cannot predict how they will put their cases. You know, but as I said, they cannot stop the CJ from continue with the investigations and removing those judges, and that is very important. They can't, as far as I'm concerned, there's no way. It is because even if you put the video aside, and I have come to say, I came to you, I spoke to you, we discussed, and you agreed to take this money, I gave it to you, they will say no. But you see, Anas would have established that there was S-party conversation with them, which is what the Code of Conduct prohibits. The Code of Conduct is not saying that they have committed crime. Indeed, the impeachment committees and the other committees have no jurisdiction to prove the commission of any bribery. All they have to do is to meet the lower standard that there was ex-party discussion to compromise the judges. The judges did take part in it. They didn't report to anybody, and therefore they have breached the code of ethics. That's why I'm insisting that they can't get out of it. They deserve what has come to them.
Okay, so you are not saying that the judges, as we have seen, did not take bribes?
What I'm saying is, from the evidence, they engaged in ex-party discussion.
Right.
Whether or not they took bribes is what the criminal court will deal with. But that they engaged in ex-party discussion, contrary to the code of ethics of judges and magistrates, is absolutely clear.
So how does Anas's expose of these things constitute a crime, if indeed and in fact the judges were caught taking the bribes?
I'm telling you that Anas is a volunteer. And even if he committed crime in getting those evidence, the evidence will still be accepted.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that his crime will be overlooked.
All right.
Yes,
All right.
That is the law.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time this morning, sir.
And then tell my brother Kweku Baako, he shouldn't let us be quarreling because we have been so good friends for so many years.
Martin, we are not quarreling. We are arguing. We are debating.
And have a good day.
Yes.
Only good friends.
But you have some proposals for them, right?
Let me read it here. He says, he's just saying this
if
to
you
me.
want to read it, because I...
Oh, yeah. It says necessity for face-to-face
Okay, thank you very
debate.
much for your time, sir. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, bye.
Good morning.
It says necessity. I just saw this. Necessity for face-to-face debate between Martin Amidu and Anas Arimayo Anas. I, Martin Amidu, is willing to engage Anas Arimayo Anas in a direct debate at his announced appearance on City FM or Joy FM or Star FM on condition that he will not be hooded and will come along with his company registration and regulations for Tiger IPI, private investigations, in Ghana or Tiger IPI Limited, as his lawyer now claims, and his license or licenses to operate a private or private investigations organizations under sections 1 and 5 of the Police Service Private Security Organizations Regulations 1992, LI 1517. It will be important for him to produce the regulations of Tiger IPI Media Limited and his license and permits under LI 1517. It is also important that the public hear both of us at the same forum and determine the merits of each of our cases. I have no reason to be hooded, even though I know the government would rather I were dead, and it would be unfair for me to debate someone whose face I cannot see in order to assess his demeanor for credibility, uneasiness, and truthfulness. No lawyers or experts will be allowed to join in the debate. The hood should only be removed in the studio in the presence of only the presenter, myself, and him, so that the likelihood that I wish to expose his face to the public will not arise. Okay. Martin ABK Amidu, 14th November 2015.
Okay, he's left us, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay. I just felt that maybe it would have been important to ask him that if it was his case that releasing the videos were an act unconstitutional, then why does he want that of Parliament, if one exists, to be released? Wouldn't that also be unconstitutional? But now let's. But I'll come back to you with a few direct things about the registration incorporation matters, the Securities and Intelligence Act that you are expected to comply with, about the fact that Anas has exhibited on his webpage that he takes money, setting dollars for this kind of job, that kind of job, and all of that. How do you feel the way Martin looks at it, that it is not the best for anyone who professes to be anti-corruption, crusader, to be engaged in doing it for money? Yes, okay, I understand I need to take a quick break. We'll return after this break. I understand that Mr. Amidu is back on the line. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Just 1 minute. Let me put this thing off.
Yes. Okay. Right. Thank you very much for coming back. Just one question. That question he wants to respond to. If he does that quickly, then we take a break and I return to hear from my other guest. Are you ready now to answer that question?
Which question is this?
The question is that if you suggest that releasing the videos about the judges is unconstitutional because there was an unconstitutional invasion of their privacy, pursuant to Article 18 of the Constitution, is it? Then 18.2. Then what would releasing a video capturing parliamentarians also be? Wouldn't that also be unconstitutional?
What I'm saying is my problem is the secrecy of dealing with Parliament and shutting it up, and yet bringing the judicial thing and showing it to the whole world. That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying he's done that, which is compromising his integrity as an anti-corruption crusader.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
He's released. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
If you say that judges have done this and you have shown it to the public, why hide the other one? Why go and let the executive show it to them? You see, it's going to weaken our Parliament because now the president is holding a blackmail over them. They know what he has against them.
Well, they say there is no video like that.
I'm saying there is because MPs from both houses have told me, and Kweku Baako and Kweku Baako, both of whom are my friends, and I trust very greatly, in spite of their belated denial.
Well, now, what do you do? What do you do? The onus is on you. They say who alleges must prove.
When I have proved that Kweku Baako, of all fellows, who is known for truth, has himself admitted that the thing exists. Kweku Baako, who is noted for truth, has admitted. Their denial is just too belated and an afterthought, for anybody.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Now, what do you make of the angle that Martin Amidu brings to the whole, expose?
It's a very complex situation. I sit back and listen to Martin, who was my hallmate, and the few things that I've read. He's sort of arguing on basis of law, too much of it. But I see him also conjecturing a bit. And what I see as his objective, that I understand, I even thought about that before now, is the fact that he wants to fight corruption within the executive arm, maybe within Parliament, and then Anas also an agent, the same field, who want to do just one side and leave the others. That seems to be his beef. Honestly, I was outside the country when I heard about the judicial thing, you know, and I said to myself, why this? There is massive corruption issues in governance, in government, the executive. And Anas didn't show that one. He's going to show, you know, the judicial thing. So why all that? That is the first impression I got. Then I sat back and said, corruption is corruption. If it's judicial corruption, if it's executive corruption, if it's parliamentary corruption.
By your rule,
corruption is corruption.
By your rule in
yes.
in that committee in Parliament, are you a member of the leadership?
No.
Okay.
I'm not a member of the leadership. If you expand the leadership, we can continue expanding, and you bring in to the level of committee chairs, then I will be part of it.
Okay.
And I must tell you honestly, what he's talking about as committee of the whole, that is where we do Parliament closed session. Nothing of this sort has been discussed, and anybody told
But he's
anybody.
asking a legitimate question.
You know.
If it is about you,
and I'm even surprised.
If you have been caught on tape,
yes.
taking bribes
yes.
or engage in corrupt acts,
yes.
why would you come to the public and say, yes, indeed, we have seen such video?
No, but the question is that, why would that video be shown to the whole house? You see, and I'm surprised. You see, Kweku was listening about leadership who may have seen it, and he mentioned about 4 or 5 of them, not even the entire leadership. And then he said some MPs have come to him to tell him, who are these MPs? Are they part of leadership? Or the speaker, or who, majority leader, or the deputy minority leader, or who again? So I'm a bit taken aback about some of these things. But like I said earlier on, my thing is fighting corruption. Actually was there. Done right. You know.
So in fact, there was the leadership watched a video. That's the point, but not on parliamentary corruption. It was the judicial corruption. That's what
Kweku is saying. Yeah. That's what Anna is saying. I wouldn't know because I wasn't part of it.
Okay.
But lawyer, before we go forward, the MPP thing, you know, Kweku was saying about who.
You're going back to MPP.
Who didn't vote? No, the correction. And he said the chairman of Brahafu didn't vote.
No, I didn't
sent
say
a
that.
message.
No,
I mentioned as
I
much
wanted his name. I said his name.
I mentioned as much but that is not correct.
Okay.
It's rather the secretary of the party in Brahafu.
Yeah. Okay. The secretary
him,
who didn't vote.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Rodling, this is a subject, one of your pet subjects, the questions of corruption. What do you make of what is going on?
You know, I'm getting a bit confused now.
Don't be.
No, I am, because you see, I know that Martin Amidu is not against the fact that Anas has shown that video and that some judges have been found to be corrupt. Allegations upon allegations are out there. I also heard of the parliamentary video that is supposed to be coming out. And right now, I don't even know what to say to someone that I argued against, that Anas's usual work for the state is for free. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I do know that he takes money for some of these things.
Who said?
Doesn't he get paid?
No, is the evidence here?
No, because I think that he gets paid for some of these things. You understand? As to whether he was paid by this one or not, I don't know. But then out there is the fact that Anas was commissioned by the Chief Justice to do this. Out there. That is I am telling you the truth. That is what is out there.
That's a new angle.
You know, it's a new angle, whether it's government or Chief Justice, or you know what I mean? It could be government, it could be Chief Justice, whichever. But out there, that is one of the things.
That's a new angle.
You understand? Now, for me, no, it's dangerous. No,
that's rather very serious.
What I'm trying to say is that if government means Chief Justice,
no,
I'm just trying to ask if government means Chief Justice. I don't know.
It's not fair.
But if it's the government or if it's the Chief Justice or whatever, but somebody is supposed to have commissioned the guy to do that. Now, what I am confused about
is no, I wasn't commissioned to do this. I did this on my own.
So he did it on his own. And then as I was listening to you, I was told that he gave some commendations. He commended certain people to the Chief Justice. Is that right?
he gave a list of judges he approached who attempted to deal with him.
To the Chief Justice?
Yes.
Yeah.
He published it alongside the corrupt, quote-unquote, corrupt judges.
Did he give it to the Chief Justice or to the Judicial Council? That's what I want to know. Because you see, when somebody has asked you to do a job, you report back.
No, this one
I just
was
want to know.
petitioning, the petition, the Constitution. He was triggering the Constitution. After having the evidence on judicial corruption, and you want the judges sanctioned, what do you do according to law?
According to Article 146,
yes.
you
What
take
do you
it to
do?
the
So at what
president,
stage?
and the president will pass it to the Chief Justice.
Yes.
So it was the
So they did
president that passed it on to the Chief Justice.
Those for the High Court judges, but those for the lower court judges, the petition is straight
To the Chief Justice. So it's constitutional, that's all.
Has he been doing that for every other case that he's taking? Like,
this is a judicial matter, so that's all he could do.
And that is why,
unless he wanted to show it as a movie.
No,
Please,
because it's a judicial matter.
Yes.
That is why it should have been handled in a certain way. I was not happy that this thing was shown to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. You understand? If you did something, at the moment, we are asking for investments. We are asking for investors to come to this country. You have now exposed our judiciary as corrupt. Some of them as corrupt. Meanwhile, we have 500 hours of footage. We have not watched the 500. We've only been shown maybe 1.5 or 2 hours of footage. We don't even know the editing those things. Does it tell another story?
You are interested in that?
I'm interested in the fact that some people were supposed to have been clean. That is, they don't take. Okay? Was it just that one moment? Was it just that one moment that they refused? Because you see, out there is the notion also that some people were kind of like alerted. I'm telling you, we are out there. I'm not a member of the judiciary. Out there meaning the general public. You listen to people, you talk to people as a politician. Allegations. Allegations in this country come and go, and sometimes they come to be facts. This is what I'm trying to say. You see, we cannot continue to say that things that happen out there do not matter sometimes within.
Then we can say anything.
No. When we look at Wyoming, when we come to Wyoming's case, for instance, we were of the feeling that some cover-up was going on. We were of the feeling that things were not going right. It's not every time.
We showed records.
At the end of it, it was Martin Amidu again who went there, and then we got some form of justice. You understand? You were asking about Ajat Nassam. Nobody's talking about Ajat Nassam. What's happened to him? Where's he gone? What are they doing to get him back? All these things are letting people think otherwise. And I am saying that this case with Hamidu...
Okay. Let's do it this way. In respect of Justice Ajat Nassam, the Chief Justice or the Chief Justice's committee, that is investigating High Court judges, issued what you call a substituted service notice by substituted service, published it in the Daily Graphic, saying that Justice Ajat Nassam, we have been looking for you, we can't find you, and we are giving you this notice, and we know you will find you, it will get to you. Yes. Now, take note that if you don't come on this day by 10 o'clock, we will proceed to look at your case without you. And that is due process. Fine. They are allowed to go ahead and pronounce judgment against him and put the sanctions on him without he being there.
Are they going after him anyway?
That's not their job. They are not supposed to go after him.
Fine.
That will be the police
what
if they
I
want to prosecute.
Know is at what stage was Anas given the whistleblowers protection? At what stage of this investigation was he given the whistleblowers protection? Was it before he set out, which means that he would have gone to tell them that I'm going to do this and therefore protect me? Or was it after he had found it and gone to present to the president or those that matter that he was given the whistleblowers protection?
What do you think would be the natural thing?
I don't know. I'm only asking. I'm throwing it out there. Anyone who knows at what stage Anas was given the whistleblowers protection? Was it the beginning, before he started, or it was after? We need to know that, to know whether he was commissioned or he went out of his own volition.
But by the law, would it be your expectation that it is after you have presented your case that this is what I have, then the Attorney General can confirm that you indeed have that protection, or is before? What do you think?
if I am in charge of a situation and someone comes to tell me that this is what I have done, but I need to be protected, blah, blah, blah. For me, I don't think I'll do it. Because you did not inform me before going out to do those things. And what you have found, a person is innocent until proven guilty. I don't see why I should protect you. You must be definitely sure of what you have done before I can protect you.
So who's looking for that letter of confirmation of the...
Yeah, because it wasn't granted as such.
Yes, confirmation. I've used confirmation.
Yes.
Amaba, let's hear you.
You've seen me, I changed my posture by holding my chair.
For a long time.
For a very long time. Hurt. Seriously hurt. And petrified. Head first. Why would Martin Amidu say that as a Northerner, he thinks that President John Mahama has not conducted himself well and that nobody will give a Northerner another chance? I'm hurt by that statement. The presidency of this country is not the preserve of only those who come from the southern part of this country. It is not the birthright of any person. You vote for people because they have presented a manifesto that you think that the manifesto is capable of changing their lives. So for a Northerner himself to come out and make that statement, I'm sad this morning. I'm very sad. I didn't expect my uncle, such a senior person, to come out and make such a statement. It's unfortunate.
Abraham, don't be sad.
He spoke about something that has some popularity.
Exactly.
That he said, he anchored it on this basis, that Northerners are generally seen and known to be truthful and honest, and that he has seen that this president, he's entitled in the democracy to say that he has seen that this president has conducted himself in a way that doesn't, accord to that acclaim.
The converse is that sadness are generally known not to be what?
No, he's not.
No. Let me make. You don't understand. No,
understand this.
Let me make my point. I am here to speak my mind.
To a group of
I
people.
am here to speak my mind.
So if one person's conduct is disgracing that group, you have every
which
right
conduct
to
is
pronounce on
disgracing
it. That is what
which conduct is disgracing which group?
He said the way the president has conducted himself might bring some slur, on the group that he belongs to. That is what.
That is not
this
my interpretation of what he has said.
Take this
matter. So please, it's okay. You made your point.
This is not what he has said. The president has not disgraced any Northerner. And I'm saying that the presidency is not a preserve of any ethnic group in this country. I think that statement he made is unfortunate. I'm calling on northern groups to make statements directed at Martin Amidu that those statements were unfortunate. And I stand by it. I do not think that if you find something wrong with the president's way of handling affairs in the country, you should connect him to the entire ethnic group or the entire northern sector of this country. And to say that people will not vote for a Northerner again because, in your view, the president has not conducted himself well in the office.
Okay, kindly proceed now to the substantive matters.
I disagree.
Okay, thank you. Can you now proceed to the... Because your group, Legal Resources Center, even came in Martin Amidu's thing.
Now, you won't get it because you don't think the way I think. My thinking is different. I am protective of my ethnic group, and I'll sit here and say that any derogative comment about my ethnic group, I will come out to defend it. So you won't get it. And I'm not here to even talk and please you people. Now, the point is that I am perplexed because when you asked him a certain question, that to what end, he said that why would he be exposing judicial corruption and leaving political corruption? Or in other words, by exposing judicial corruption, you are protecting political corruption. Which of this corruption is not debilitating? Which of this corruption is not having a negative effect on the people of this country? Is it economic corruption? Is it social corruption? Is it cultural corruption? Is it which of them? And if ANAS has decided to expose judicial corruption, your line of argument is that by so doing, it amounts to protecting or covering up for political corruption. I don't get it. Indeed, ANAS works with Kweku Baako in that same newspaper. I don't think that by exposing judicial corruption, Kweku Baako will stop exposing political corruption in this country. I don't think that if this government does anything which is wrong, Kweku Baako's paper, of which Anas works with, will stop exposing that. So I thought that as a crusader, and seeing his fellow crusader fighting corruption, I thought that he would have partnered. And all these matters he's talking about, these matters of legality, I thought that he could have put out his expertise to assist Anas if he thinks that something illegal is going on, to assist Anas to bring him up to speed on the issues of registration, on the issues of hiding behind the law and not doing the right thing.
That is if Anas admits that there's any wrong that's been done.
Even there's a wrong, you first would want to use, because you are people of like mind. And I think that if you are on a war to kill mosquitoes, if you see your fellow mosquito killing them, you partner him to kill the mosquitoes. But here we are, I see an attempt to run down and bring Anas's image into disrepute. I'm sure there are people today, this morning, who will begin to think twice about whatever Anas brings out. So, for me, Martin has actually made me to believe that there's hatred for the president and there's this dislike for the president. He's bitter and he's using this against the president. And I think that I will not sit here and allow that to happen. And I think that his comments are unfortunate on Nordness, and his comments are unfortunate about the way the president runs this country.
Very interesting, and I've got loads of your text messages coming in as far as this matter is concerned. And I'll take a break here. When we return, we'll briefly wrap up on this issue. Remember also that we have the DVLA matter pending, and we have the budget. It does look like we may have to take the budget to the next discussion, probably next week, because the budget matters are still matters that are going to be in focus for proper scrutiny in the course of the week. And we will also show you maybe perhaps the exact time or period when Anas was issued the confirmation letter on his immunity. But that immunity is an immunity that is guaranteed by the Whistleblowers Act. It is not for anybody to give it to you. So he appropriated it to himself, so to speak. And the letter of confirmation of the immunity from the Attorney General is dated the 2nd day of September 2015. This certainly is after he presented the petition. And it reads that protection against civil and criminal action pursuant to Section 18 of the Whistleblowers Act, 2006, Act 720. Our attention has been drawn to investigations conducted by you and your organization into some acts of alleged impropriety and corruption. So it means they already have it. Involving some members of the Judicial Service of Ghana. We are also informed that you have in your possession some video materials on the alleged acts which you seek to make public. We wish to commend you for your continued effort in fighting corruption in our society. As a whistleblower, we further wish to assure you and your agents of your protection against civil and criminal liability under the law. Please be assured that Section 18 of the Whistleblowers Act indemnifies you and your agents from any civil or criminal liability in respect of any disclosures made by you concerning the investigations into these acts of impropriety and corruption. Our office is determined to ensure that you and your agents are duly protected under the law. We wish to assure you of our commitment to play our part in ensuring that this matter receives all the necessary action. You may count on our continuous collaboration in the fight against corruption. Marita Brew appear upon Mrs. Attorney General and Minister for Justice. Signed. At the period, as far as I am aware, at this time, I had already seen it together with Anas myself.
But
So,
from
yes.
the tone of the letter,
Yes.
it was we have. It's not that they have seen. From the tone,
And by the tone of this letter,
no, at the tone, our attention has been drawn
Right.
to investigations conducted by you.
Right.
Our attention has been drawn.
Yes, that's the Attorney
So
General's office.
it means
Why
that
not?
she has been told, but she hadn't seen it.
when you take a petition, you take it to the president. The president is likely to call the Attorney General and bring them into the picture. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back.